Hello guys and welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be taking a look at the Qwertykeys QK65. Now this keyboard was sold around last month and basically it has a starting price of $160 and you get a lot for that money. The shipping can go from $40 all the way to like $80 I saw. So in my opinion, I don't really consider this a budget king or whatever like a lot of people are saying on YouTube. I think this is more on the mid-range if you account for that shipping price. So this is Owlab's sister company, and this is, I guess, their cheaper option that is offered to those who don't want to spend so much, which I think is perfect for people like me. Now I love the keyboard community and I love the keyboard hobby, but I cannot see myself spending so much money on a keyboard. So when it came to the QK65, it was a no-brainer. I went for the black and gold, and that's what I have today. So this keyboard comes inside a carrying case. Inside the carrying case, you get the keyboard case with the silicone dampening pad and the case foam as well. I got a palm plate. It also comes with a coiled cable that was surprisingly not garbage. So most of the time whenever they include a coiled cable or anything like that when it comes to custom keyboards or keyboards in general, I just really wish they would have included a straight wire because the coiled cables usually are bad. But for this one, I was surprised to see that it in fact was decent, but it wasn't like amazing, which is a step up from most companies. And it comes with two different types of gaskets. Gasket socks, which are the tiny ones, and I'm guessing we're gonna call the longer ones gasket long socks because I kind of forgot the name. And I also spent a little bit more money and I got the bundle that came with some PE foam for the PCB, and you also get the PCB of course. Now the PCB actually has flex cuts inside of it, which gives more of a bouncy or like softer typing feel, and this is not really common in this price category, so that was very cool to see. Now honestly, this keyboard looks premium and it feels premium as well. The only difference is they cut some corners and the corners they cut were perfect. So the weight at the bottom is not actually colored in the inside, which is the part that you obviously will never see. So I think that it obviously is to cut down the cost a bit, and they are matte, they're not glossy. At first I thought the gold would look a little bit ugly, but having it in person I think it looks really nice. So the only complaint I have about this keyboard is the fact that there's no daughter board, and since this is a gasket mounted keyboard you would want it to be flex, and it's kind of hard to have flex when the USB-C is jammed into a hole. So you know, the flex on this keyboard isn't something like crazy, but it's good enough for me and I like how it feels and sounds as well. So the switches I went for are the Neapolitan ice cream switches, mainly because I haven't seen anybody build this keyboard with tactile switches yet, and I feel like the tactile community needs more love because they are just so nice to type on and I love them for rhythm games. And since I wanted this to be my main keyboard, I went for some switches that, you know, people consider one of the best tactile switches, and I got them lubed and filmed, and they sound amazing and feel amazing as well. I'll have a full switch review coming out on these switches later on in the future. The keycaps I came with are SA Jadeite, and I actually got a keyboard cable commissioned by VoxelMods to match the SA Jadeite colorway of the keycaps. I think it looks absolutely amazing. I'll be going full deep review video on this cable in the future, so stay tuned if you're also interested in that. So now that all of the parts and stuff are out of the way, let's get to actually building it. So the build process is quite simple. You get some screw-in stabilizers, and I decided to start with that. Now you have to make sure that you do the screw-in stabilizers over the PE foam, because I made the mistake of not doing that, so I had to unscrew all of them, because you need to have the PE foam layer over the PCB already before you screw them in, or not the PE foam layer has to be cut, and since I didn't want to cut, I just decided to unscrew all of them. So once I lubed and tuned the stabilizers, now these stabilizers were great right out the box, so I honestly didn't have to do much. I did some wire balancing and I lubed with dielectric grease and 205 grade 0, but other than that I didn't have to do any holy mod or anything like that. They just sounded great and felt great. So after I did that, I put on the plate foam on top of the PE foam, and then I put my palm plate on top, and I went ahead and tested my stabilizers. Honestly, first try, I did it perfectly. Stabilizers usually take me once or twice to get right, but I got these first try. Maybe that's because they're just already great right out the box. But yeah, amazing stabilizers. Once that's all said and done, you do have to take apart the case from the top and bottom part by unscrewing the weight and then unscrewing the screws underneath the weight, and then you can remove the top and bottom layer. Now when you put this keyboard together, you actually want to put the PCB into the top housing and not the bottom housing. Once I did that, I put the case foam on top. I removed the silicone dampener, and I did not use the silicone long socks. I chose the smaller ones because I saw a video on this keyboard before actually buying it, and I did not like how the silicone dampener sounds, and I did not like how the silicone long socks sounded either. It sounded thinner and it removed a lot of the deeper frequencies, which is what I wanted in this keyboard in the first place. So once I did all of that, I put this keyboard back together. I screwed up everything and I was amazed. This keyboard sounds amazing. If I had to use one keyboard for the rest of my life, I probably wouldn't mind using this one. It feels great, it sounds great. I literally have no complaints about this. Even though the flex isn't crazy, it's flexible enough towards where it does make a difference, and I have never found it to be a stiff typing experience. So overall, Qwertykeys did a great job. If you guys can maybe try to wait for the round 2 of this keyboard, I would definitely recommend doing so because wow, this keyboard is amazing. Here's a sound test so you guys can hear how it sounds. Overall, I have no complaints. Like I said before, I love this keyboard. I love what Qwertykeys did. I love the corners they cut. The build quality feels nice. The keycaps I chose are perfect for what I wanted. And the switches are absolutely amazing. They're probably my favorite tactile switch on the market. Honestly, the last part, which was the cherry on top that I forgot to mention earlier, was the fact that the feet cover the screw holes at the bottom. So it basically looks like a screwless design. The way they implemented the screws, the angle of the case on the sides, and just the overall look and design of this keyboard is perfection. I'll be leaving a link in the description so you guys can learn more about this keyboard. But other than that, let me know what you guys thought about this build and keyboard in the comments down below, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.